Almost a century after Francis Birtles completed an epic drive from London to Melbourne in a Bean open-top sports car, two men are close to completing the exact same journey in the same car. The Daily Telegraph's Warren Brown and Matthew Benz have arrived in the nation's capital on the final leg of their drive, which has taken them to Europe, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Singapore. Earlier today, I caught up with the duo who say the toughest moments of the journey have actually happened on home soil. Warren, Matthew, congratulations. 5 months, 20 nations, all sorts of weather.
All
sorts of weather. It must feel like a huge achievement right now.
Well, it has been, Kieran. I mean, you were the first person we spoke to before we left. And after all this time, here we are. When we started at Australia House on the Strand with a lovely letter from King Charles III wishing us the best, and then we sort of set off into the unknown, and here we are in Canberra at last.
Old Parliament House.
Yeah.
We've got Parliament behind us. It seems a fitting moment. I know you're going to wrap up in Melbourne later in the week, but this has been an epic, Matthew. I was talking to your mechanic, Tony Jordan. He's the other member of the triumvirate that's been on the full trip.
Absolutely, the
and
unsung hero.
This 100-year-old car behind us has performed so well.
Brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. Had very, very few moments. There was one, in fact, Australia's proven the hardest leg on us and on the car. The left headlamp went flying off. We heard a bang and saw it spiralling off into the bush, but we recovered it and it hadn't broken. And there was another moment when the magneto coked up, and Tony Jordan, being the man he is, jumped in and disassembled it at a concrete park bench in a rest area, put it all back together, fixed it, the car ran like a dream.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, considering you look at the diary that you guys have had online via Daily Telegraph and the news.com websites. But I remember when you put out the initial promo material had you two in front of the pyramids, and it was done, you'd superimpose the image. But then when you got there, how did that feel?
Well, that was
to
amazing.
Get into Egypt and to be there?
Well, that was the thing, Kieran. I'd always had, because I'm a cartoonist, I think in pictures, and one of the things that I'd imagined was Matthew and I in the car at the front of the pyramids of Giza, and I'd knocked up this sort of promo, illustration, if you like, in Photoshop. And lo and behold, eventually here we are in the ridiculous gear, standing in front of the pyramids with this car. And it was a really sort of out-of-body experience, and that happened so many times. I sort of concocted different ideas about the car being in the desert or wherever it is in the jungle, and there we are. And it looks like we'd actually drawn the whole thing up as a sort of, like a movie preview sort of thing, like a sort of run sheet. But it actually did run like that, didn't it? Like a Tintin book, I would say.
No, it's a wonderful contrast having those two images side by side, the initial one and then when you lived the dream, so to speak. But what I love about this whole story and what you two have achieved is it evokes something, doesn't it, of a century ago, that great achievement in this same car, basically, by Francis Birtles.
Absolutely. It's about adventure. And I think today, much as Francis Birtles did it then, today, this adventure for us is also about telling people, look, yes, you look at the news, there's terrible things happening in the world, but actually, don't be scared. Actually, the world is full of wonderful, warm, caring people who laughed and smiled and waved at our car. We don't need to curl up in fear. Get out there and live your life.
Yeah, and talking, as I said, to your mechanic, he said it was the trip of a lifetime, Tony. He loved it. And when you think about the countries you've been to, as we said, from the United Kingdom to the Middle East, and then Australia with those downpours you copped out at Mount Isa and Ballina.
That's right.
Some of the toughest weather, unsurprising, in your backyard.
Well, that's right. I mean, when we planned it, there's sort of a window of opportunity of weather you can go through. We didn't want a European winter. We didn't want a Saudi summer. We didn't want an Asian monsoon. But the payoff or the payback was going to be Australia. We're going to be in the Northern Territory and Queensland in the wet, and the rest of Australia in the summer. So when you get to Tennant Creek and it's 4 billion degrees and you're in the car and it's boiling its head off, we knew that. We were prepared for that. So we nursed the car all the way through the middle of Australia in the toughest time of the year, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
And so and then of course making our way down the coast, the east coast. We've got to Canberra here now, and it's cool, believe it or not.
It is. It's a beautiful day, lovely day in the nation's capital to welcome you both. But Matthew, when you set out, and I remember interviewing you at the start of this adventure, this massive, epic journey, and wondered, I wonder, will they get there in this old rig? Will they get there? Did you have any sense of trepidation, any fears?
Oh, many, I think. But the thing we had was determination, not to say we can't do it, but how are we going to do it? And we had a lot of setbacks at the beginning, and really what we said was, we're just going to keep falling forward. Just tackle today's problem, fall forward, and that's what we did.
I love that. Love that bit of advice too on how to live life. And I've got to say, you two must be the best of friends in that little space.
It's very cosy.
Yeah,
it's
we're
very cosy.
We're more
very
comfortable
close.
like this now.
Yes. We're like an old married couple. You know, been together forever and there's no sex involved whatsoever.
Well, on that note, congratulations, gentlemen. Huge achievement. It's a wonderful story, and good luck for the final leg to Melbourne, where the huge celebration will take place.
My very word. I think hopefully we've got a pretty special guest, I think. So.
And also a big note for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. We've been raising money for them the whole way, and they'll be there with us to, collect the collection tins from all across Australia.
Gents, beautiful. Congrats. Great achievement. Well done.
Thanks, Kieran.
Thank you, Kieran.
And Warren and Matthew have smashed their fundraising target of $100,000, raising more than 120 grand for the Royal Flying Doctors Service. If you'd like to donate, you can visit doyourthing.org.au and visit the Birtles and Bean Fundraising for the Flying Doctors link.